Welcome to the Women Abroad podcast. I'm your host, Lizet Esquivel. This show is part of the section Women Who Inspire, where you will learn stories and experiences of successful female expats from all over the world. They will share with us the secrets that nobody is willing to tell you about living overseas. Welcome to another episode of Women Abroad. My name is Lizet Esquivel, Global Editor and Welum.com. I'm in charge of the section Women Who Inspire. And as you know, we always travel around the world. Today, I'm very happy because we're doing an exotic trip to Hong Kong. And why Hong Kong is so attractive, you know? Well, first, because Hong Kong is a city that attracts many travelers. This island city has it all: a fabulous landscape, or overwhelming nightlife, a splendid shopping area, very important for fashionistas like me, and one of the best gastronomies on the planet. So today it's with me, Neha Sonney. She's from India, now living in Hong Kong. She identifies herself as a self-love expert. She truly believes that in order to realize your dream, uh, be it a relationship, a dream job, a business you love, you first have to build and envision the best relationship with yourself. Her 9-year-long journey of meditation has taught her to listen deeply to herself and transform her story. Having broken free of her patterns of being in toxic relationships and finding the love of her life, her vision is to help singles build the best relationship with themselves. So, Neha, welcome to Women Abroad.
Thank you for that wonderful introduction, Lisette. I am so excited to be with you.
Now, the pleasure is mine. So let's get started. Tell us, well, you're from India and now you're living in Hong Kong. Tell us your story. Why did you move to Hong Kong?
Um, it was an arranged marriage that brought me to Hong Kong, and I don't, I'm no longer a part of that marriage, but seems like my transformation of my life happened here in this city.
How long have you been living in Hong Kong?
20 years now.
Oh my God, you look younger. Oh, I think that you were very, very young when you moved. So talking about that point, tell us a little bit, what is a arranged marriage? Because you know the people who listen to us are from many countries, especially for
Yeah,
Latin America.
yeah,
So in Latin America, it's not very common to have arranged marriages, but we
yes,
know that in India, it's something kind of common. So tell us
yes.
a little bit about this context in what happened in India, why is this, and, and how long you got married, all the stuff. A little, some details, you know, to the people
Okay.
understand the culture of India.
Sure. So it can be very individual to families, and some people will go ahead and find their partners if their parents are open-minded, if their parents are like mine, a little bit more conservative and very like maybe overprotective because they have beautiful children, and oftentimes, well, Mumbai was not necessarily safe. That's where I was before I moved to Hong Kong. So, and Bahrain was where I grew up. So it's a Muslim country. And yes, we had to dress up conservatively. So yes, the conservative behavior was there much of my upbringing. And I realized when I was in university that I am sort of my own person and I had someone in my life, but I didn't get to be with that person because my parents disagree with getting married with someone who doesn't belong in a certain there is a caste system that they follow, and if you marry outside of that caste, it's like because we don't know people in that particular community, it's better you marry in a community where you know, and we know how those people are. So that's how like the elders in the family get involved, and they say, okay, there is this guy, there is this proposal, are you interested? And then they call a priest who will look at our astrological signs and try and say, oh, this particular thing is a good match, this guy and this girl, so maybe it's okay to get married. But for me, what's the stars are not important to match. What's more important is the mindset, the mentality. So I had never met my husband.
So
Never
until the
dated
day of the
him, never known
marriage?
him.
Oh my
I mean, he
God.
came down to visit, so he was in Hong Kong. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I didn't know anything about Hong Kong, what the culture is, what it is to live like here. And we would only talk on the phone. Um, and he traveled down to Mumbai, where I was at the time, and we went out to see watch movies or like just go out and eat or whatever. But that's very little to get to know a person, like, to decide and spend the rest of our life together. But I was doing that out of some other reason. For me, it was more like an escape. That's why I'm like, okay, there's nothing I can do in the situation that I was, which brought me, well, life brought me to Hong Kong. That's what I would say. So yes, the arranged marriage is something that I could not get myself. I could not choose who my partner was because of the conservative attitude of my parent.
So
And
it was
so,
a question of religion,
um,
understanding, or just simply because a macho mindset?
um,
Both.
I won't say religion, because my parents have never been religious, but it's more about, how my parents conduct, which means that sometimes we don't have the healthiest relationship with a parent, because and we don't know, and that's our reality. It's been there since childhood. So one of my parents happens to be a narcissist, which means their way the highway or no way at all. And for all of my life that I remember, I tried to win her love. It never happened. So no matter what I did, I was never perfect. And so I said, what is my way to get out of a situation like this, where I am given the silent treatment, I am not talked to, I am not listened to, I am invalidated. It was the worst thing to go through. So I said, okay, if I can't do anything else, maybe this marriage is my way to get out of this horrible situation that I am in. So I said, okay, at least I can get out of this hell that I am in. And so I,
And a beautiful city because it's a first class country. You know, India. It's so it's sad to say it, but sorry, but it's it's growing, but now it's very behind of of China, Hong Kong, the United States, or any country in Europe. So maybe it was a blessing. And how long did you stay marriage?
I was in a marriage for 12 years.
12 years. Wow, you're a keeper. 12 years, it's a lot of time for arranged marriage. So congratulations. Honesty is
Well,
complicated. I I guess it was hard, but thanks God, maybe you are now having another type of life and enjoying a wonderful life in Hong Kong on your own.
I am in a better relationship, and I'm in the most beautiful relationship, which is what I help people get. So that's
Amazing.
the thing. Yes, yes. So of all the
That is a
places
good.
in the world, I find the love of my life in Hong Kong.
So tell us a little bit, what stereotypes did you face for being Indian or Hindu in Hong Kong? Tell us about the stereotypes that you face.
Um, okay. Can you explain to me so that
The
I can
stereotypes
answer
is,
that?
for example, I'm Mexican.
Yeah.
And when I go to the United States, people think, oh, Mexican equal drug dealer, equal, wearing the big hat, and maybe you
Mm.
are very happy, you smile all the time. The Chinese are dirty and are like blah, blah, blah. So that kind of thing. So these stereotypes that people, that when the people label us and you
Yeah,
move to
yeah,
another
yeah.
country, what
Yeah.
stereotypes or labels you
Mm,
face when
yeah.
you move to Hong Kong?
Um, it was interesting. I didn't find the job that I was looking for, so I ended up in teaching industry, and I started teaching English, and that's what a lot of Indian girls that move to be with their husbands in Hong Kong. That's what they're doing because they can't find the jobs that the high paying jobs, or like being in the finance, because this is a finance hub. So you're either in banking or in investment and hedge funds and all that stuff. I There is that, and there is the teaching industry. So a lot of Indian girls are in the teaching industry because they're not able to get those type of jobs. And then of course, we don't speak the local language, and that can be very hard. Besides that, it's there is who is our competition if we are teaching English. Well, English is the I grew up learning English in school. That was the first language we were exposed to before I was exposed to Hindi. I grew up speaking my mother tongue, so I'm fluent in all three languages. My mother tongue is Hindi, but it's the who am I competing with here in Hong Kong, because there has been British rule. The British were here in Hong Kong before they left in '97, and then I feel that people of Hong Kong, they're biased, which means that if someone has the light eyes and light hair, they're qualified to teach English than someone like me who has a certificate. So that was something that I faced, and that was hard. And nobody likes that, but that's the reality of Hong Kong that nobody normally talks about, but everybody knows it's the truth.
So that
That was one.
talking about the language, what is the official language in Hong Kong? Chinese, Cantonese?
Cantonese, you are right. It's Cantonese, and it has 9 tonalities. It's not the easiest language to master.
And can people survive just speaking English in Hong Kong, or you must speak Cantonese?
You're so it's interesting because Hong Kong Island is like the business hub. You are better off in Hong Kong Island, and it's slightly easier because even the taxi drivers will speak English, and that's fine if you're getting around as a non-Cantonese speaker. But if you're living here, it's nice if you can pick up some words, and especially if you have diet restrictions, or if you're vegetarian like me, you don't want to have something added to your food, and you're going to order something. You have to make sure that you know how to communicate that to the waiting staff. So it's that those are the things that I learned, I picked up, and I can get by, I can get around, communicate myself, communicate with them easily. It's not that big a problem. But yes, yes, it is appreciated when we put in the effort. But if a white person is putting in that effort, it's like wow. But if someone with dark hair and dark eyes does that, it's no big deal. It's kind of like expected because
So they
they're
are racist, very racist for the.
yeah, if I have to label that, then yes, you can call that
Yeah, that's the
racist.
way, because they are treating you differently because the color of your skin. That is discrimination.
Yes,
That is
it's a
discrimination.
reality.
Oh
Yeah,
my,
it's a
no, no, no. And
reality.
it's amazing that you tell us the truth, because this podcast is more about custom traditions and people who are moving, but also the people who, go for vacation, for having fun. And it's important to
Yeah,
understand the culture. I know, well,
yeah,
maybe if I go, I won't suffer because I'm white. But if there is someone, that it's a kind of brown, well, they will know that maybe the treatment will be a little different. And it's important that they know that why, that why.
mm,
So sad,
yeah,
but it
yeah,
happens. And now tell
yeah.
us about that challenges. The challenges, maybe, well, the stereotypes, it's different. The challenges, what other difficult situation have you faced living in Hong Kong? Maybe the language, or I don't know, the food, or what else?
Um,
Challenges.
mm, the food is not so much of a challenge, I would say, because even in the basic restaurant, if you go, you will find something. And I'm happy. I'm not very picky. If I have to eat the same thing in the restaurant, it's fine. But if you're looking for craving variety, yes, there's tons of options. So it's not that big a challenge. What is challenging is is getting to speak to people and getting to, befriend them. It takes a while to get into their world, and it's very closed, very
Hmm.
closed. And I have and it's not just closed within the local people. I found that within my own community, and that was hard. That was even harder because I speak the same language as you. But in Hong Kong, they are they don't speak. So if I speak to them in my mother tongue, and someone who is my age, the ones who have grown up in Hong Kong or have been exposed to friends who will communicate in English more than they would communicate. If they are to communicate in the mother tongue, they will communicate that with their adults in the family or elders in the family, but not with others. And I found that, like, that's the way it is. It's hard to accept that, but yes, that's the way it is. And not just that, it's also a mentality of the open-mindedness that I have. It I did not find that. So I tried to fit in to a place and try to find friends with my ex-husband's circle or his sister's circle, for example, and I could not find that. I tried to
So
fit in.
it's different. It's difficult for what you're saying is that people, they are not open to new, to have new friends that are not in their own circles, and even the people who are from India, they only speak Hindi with the older ones, and the people from younger, they always speak English because it looks like disrespectful. Or
I'm not sure. I wasn't quite sure about that and why they do that. They also changed their names so that it's easier for foreigners or like even Cantonese speakers, because a name sometimes can be quite long and harder for them to pronounce. Even my own name, they look at it and that can be confusing for them. Oh, so I have to tell them, no, it's not ni hao, it's neha. Ni hao is like a greeting in Canton in Mandarin, and the first
mm,
association is ni hao. No, I'm not. I'm introducing my name to you. This is my name, and it's not ni hao. It's neha because their ears are so trained. So that's
oh my
it.
God, complicated. Well, the language is a challenge then as well.
Yes, yes. So besides that, and also like the people of Hong Kong who moved here during the partition, like, so the language I speak is Sindhi, is something else. And people who moved here during the partition, when India and Pakistan was partitioning, people moved countries, cities, towns, um, and then at that time it was English it was important for them to be able to speak English for some reason, and also speak Cantonese. So they kind of gave up talking even to their children in and kind of making sure the pronunciation of my own language is correct. They did not bother with that because they thought that speaking English is more important for you, growing up, if you're growing up in Hong Kong, for example. So that's why they choose to communicate that way. But that was a huge challenge for me because, like, if you don't speak your language, how are you Cindy? And you're proud to be that, but then you don't speak your own language. I am very proud of my language. I'm very proud of my culture and where I come from, because it has a very rich history. But the rich history is about the beauty of the words, and that if you're not showing that, it's sort of like a disconnect as well. And I can't, and it's more like, if you're judging me for, I felt that. So I was, at one time I was at a what do you call that, a baby shower party, and I spoke to my sister-in-law in our mother tongue, and I got looks from few people around us. Like, why are they judging me for speaking in my mother tongue? And that caught me off guard. And I said, that's not welcomed here. Um,
So
and
English is
I
it's
that's
more
where
important for people in Hong Kong than speaking even Cantonese and the other
uh
languages.
within, yes, and in like, yes, even with people who are Cantonese speakers, if they want, oh, that's another challenge with the job itself. Now, it's not the English that they want. I know they want the parents who are they're enrolling their children in English speaking courses, but they want it from someone who can, who looks like, who, okay, this looks like a person from whose mouth English is going to come out. Although they may be Russian, they could be from any other part of the world where English is not the first language. But because that person looks like that, that's what is going to come out. They don't care about anything else. And
The
they want
appearance.
accent. I want British accent. I want British accent. I want Australian accent. So it's specified. Like, Canadian, American, UK, Australian, all those, New Zealand. It's like, okay, if you're not from these places, you're going to have a tough time teaching English. Good luck with that. So it's like, oh, the color
I
of my
can't
skin is a
believe
problem.
it that the people in Hong Kong treasure too much the appearance of the traditional stereotype of the American or the native English speakers, as you know, they're blonde, blue eyes, or
Yes.
green eyes, and the Russian looks like that, even it's not their
Yeah.
mother tongue. Oh my God. No,
Yes.
no, no.
Correct.
It's a very complicated situation. I'm so sorry to hear that. Now talking about something more
It's okay.
more more positive. Let's talk about you're an
Yeah.
entrepreneur. You know, you work as a public speaking and relationship coach. Tell us a
Yeah.
little bit about your job. What do you do? What services do you offer? How the people can contact you? You have a website, or tell us.
Yes. So if you see my name, Neha Sonney, that's my website is www.nehasonney.com, and you can visit there, see my services. What How I help people is, oftentimes, yes, they want to feel confidence, and the confidence shows up in many different places, and oftentimes it's the lack of confidence that has it has happened. It's coming from a what someone has told them in the capacity of their relationships, very close relationships, and that's something that uh, is becomes their voice in their head when they want to communicate, and that's a hurdle in their own mind. It's holding them back from communicating and building that connection with their audience or connecting with people in general. And so I help them build that confidence with themselves, and also with regards to relationships. It's like being on dating apps can be challenging, finding connection with people online can be very challenging. And Hong Kong is a very interesting city. And I think most cities are, where it's hard to connect over apps. And the thing about Hong Kong is that there's lots and lots of people who are from the Indonesia, Philippines, and they are uh, single, or they're away from their families, and that means that they're also on the dating apps. And because of the bias people have towards non-locals, wanting a non-local person as their partner, because of their open-mindedness, they want to go to that and find that person. Now, that means that that one person has so many choices, and generally that's a male, and that person has tons of choices. So it's like a meat market. If I have to say it so bluntly, it's like a meat market. And And that's why it's even harder for girls, and they're single for a very, very long time. They're not able to find a relationship because their competition is the people, also the domestic helpers, on those dating apps. And there's tons of dating apps, and they're on all of those dating apps. So how do they compete with that? How do they stand out? How do they make themselves different within, like, even the dating app, like their profile? How do they stand out? How do they get to meet? How do they communicate? How do they connect? How do they show I am valuable? I can be a very nice partner. There's so many challenges that they face. I myself was single for quite some time before I found a nice relationship, a perfect
So
relationship.
your services are the business of love, that you help the people that are in these apps to find the right person. You train the people to how to communicate, how to be attractive, an attractive
Yeah.
profile, all the kind. You are a matchmaking of love. Oh my God. I didn't know it was a
Yes.
kind of profession. You know.
Well, yeah, yeah. So if I have people that come in my mind, okay, this person is a good match, I can think about that. But then oftentimes the struggle is there is the inner struggle. So I work with the inner a lot. The confidence building, I
Maybe I
work
should
on
hire
that
you
a
to find
lot.
a husband. I,
I would
I'm
love to
looking for an
help you.
American, Canadian. So later we talk about it, and you can find me a husband like that. Oh my gosh, would be amazing. Not other nationalities. I'm just focused on America. Wow,
Okay.
interesting. I never imagined that people can live of that kind of business. So according what we have talked about Hong Kong, maybe this question is
Mhm.
out of the line, but anyways, I have to ask you. So is a, is it a country where there is diversity of nationalities, but inclusion? I mean, inclusion, the same opportunities for everybody? It seems like not.
It's kind of something that, like, the way you're portraying the picture, it's sort of like that. It's like, yes, we embrace diversity. Yes, we embrace inclusion, all of that stuff. These are big words that everybody wants to adopt because everybody's talking about that.
And it looks good.
And the sustainable, yeah, no, it's the sustainable developmental goals and all that stuff. So yes, the people, it's, and then it becomes very individual to, how open-minded that particular person is. So it's totally depending on who you are communicating with, and you have to do your own homework and find the right people. So it's not like everybody is going to be open to that. It's more, it's like relationship finding as well. Not everyone you think is a good match is going to be a good match for you. Same way, you don't want to do business with everybody. The diversity and the inclusion, yes, it's there, but it's there for, okay, I'm happy to partner with you because you're good for my business,
Mm,
like that.
like a hidden
And
agenda,
if you're,
not something that's because
yeah,
it's
and
good,
if,
just because it's good for me, for my own interests.
yes, absolutely. And that's a mindset. That's the underlying mindset. It's not about, okay, how can I help you? It's what's in it for me. So you have to give them what they want, and hopefully you have what they're looking for.
Mm.
And
It seems
also,
like it's a tough culture, complicated.
yeah,
Mm.
complicated. If the color of your skin is better, then yeah, you're good. So better is like that kind of, you're they'll be more open to you. They'll be like, oh, they want to talk to you. If you're someone who is not a local, they want to talk to you. And if they appreciate, they're more open to you, they kind of get to know you a little bit, they'll talk to you more. So far, I have one person who is happy to have that conversation with me because they themselves spent their growing time, their education was in UK, and you can talk to them because they're also into doing mindfulness stuff and meditation. They've been exposed to the things I have exposed myself to. So yes, there is common ground. We can talk about those things, and that's more welcoming. So it's finding the right people even within the locals.
People who
Well,
appreciate spirituality, because India is
yes,
leader in the world in yoga, meditation. You are the leaders in the world of all of these amazing things that help us to improve our well-being. So
yes.
in the case of well-being, do you based on your experience, I know I am sorry, based on your experience, could you say that um, there is more well-being in Hong Kong than in your own country?
Definitely. Why? Because there is, even in the midst of this, there is chaos going on right now, but there is definitely more structure. If I have to choose, I've given up my Indian passport because my passport doesn't allow me to travel to different places. So this was like in 2018 I got Hong Kong passport. So which means that I have more options to travel to places and can stay longer, whatever the reason. So yes, that's one thing. The other thing is there is efficiency in the system, and that's helpful. And even the local, yes, it has its own like mental well-being. That's not something that's highly regarded. Mental well-being does not exist here in Hong Kong because the stress levels can be really high. It's But still, there are people who are like locals. They eat so healthy, but they exercise. They take very good care of their health. There is parks, and there is free equipment that people can use. So and the transport system is very efficient. You can trust and tell someone, I am going to be here at this time, and go on the MTR, and you are going to be there dot on time because you know the system is efficient. You're not going to get stuck. The trains are working perfectly fine. Yes, traffic and on the roads can be very different. So I'm someone who likes to be punctual. I'll choose to go on a train and find my way than go on somewhere where I would be late. I don't want to be late because I value people's time.
So in
So
some
yes, there
aspects,
is
well-being.
yes, some aspects, so that the system works. It's there is some amount of efficiency in the system, and it's very fast paced. So it's not like you're waiting on days. They're very fast with responding, which is good. Sometimes in things like, if I look at things in India, they can drag for quite some time, um, which is not the case over here. So there are good things about here,
Yeah, I
living
can
in Hong
imagine.
Kong.
India is a chaos.
It's an
It's good.
absolute chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it is an absolute chaos.
now let's talk about basics. I will ask you some things, general things. This is more tourist information, but anyways, it works for everybody. The ones who stay and the ones who just travel for fun. The
Yeah.
food. Tell us the most traditional dishes that people should eat in Hong Kong.
um Seafood. I think seafood dumplings are one of the best things. I am vegetarian, but there's places they have vegetarian dumplings, and I absolutely love them. And there is this tradition of yum cha, which yum means drink, cha means tea. Yum cha is okay. Let's go for yum cha, drink tea, and that comes with a round of different types of dumplings, and they come in little, you're eating little nibbles of stuff, and there's dumplings, there is all different types of Chinese dumplings, and most of them would be non-vegetarian. And that's okay because you can order other things. So that's what I used to do when I used to go. Yes, so dumplings are amazing. Fish balls, there's the street food is great. People, the eating out culture is big, is huge. People are eating out all the time. The variety of restaurants is just amazing. People love, and Hong Kong people, they love Japanese food. They love Japanese food. So yes, definitely check out the Japanese options over here.
So it's very international, but in general, they eat like many Asians. It's like seafood. They're very influenced by Japanese, but not a specific
Yeah.
traditional dish that, except dumplings that you mentioned.
Yeah.
And the tea.
Dumplings and they
What kind of
yeah,
teas?
dumplings are
Green tea
tea.
or
Green tea would be available in most Japanese restaurants, and here it's the newest thing is not the newest. It's been there for a while. Uh, Matcha, which is green tea powder, which is now in everything because it has some interesting health benefits. So now it's in ice creams. Yeah, tell me
mm,
how healthy that is. Okay, so there is that, and yes, the locals also love curries because they think, oh, Indian food means curry. Everything is curry. So that's again a stereotype. But yes, they love all of that as well. Um, there's all different types of varieties that are available. So and yes, seafood, if you want to experience that, and sit on the street and be served food by locals and experience like the flavor of Hong Kong, you would do that in this area called Jordan. And Temple Street in Jordan is exciting. It gets very exciting at by evening because there's you'll find tables put out on the street. People are sat down and they're eating. There's restaurants competing for people. Hey, come to my restaurant. How many people come here? And there's all seafood. I've never ate
wow.
there. I've never ate there. But they'll pull out the freshest little prawns and lobsters and cook it right there for you. So you get to select that and eat that. So it's seafood is big, 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 humongous. I don't even know what you call them. Lobsters. Yeah, lobsters. So seafood is big. And then right next to that there is a whole street of little things that are manufactured in China, and then there people are selling them there in that street. So it's little gifts that you can take away back home. That's a travel. If you're traveling there, there's that. There is also a place in Mongkok, or there is a place in Shamshepo where you can find these tips type of things, and also little gifts, little things for your computer or your phone, your case, all of those things you'll find nice cute little gifts to take away, take back.
Wow, nice. And tell
Yes.
us about the lifestyle. How the people in Hong Kong have fun or do on the weekends, on their free time?
mm, Eating out is big, like I said. Free time, yes, people also like hiking. It's very, very. So one of the amazing things about Hong Kong is no matter where you are in the city, from the city, either in Kowloon or in Hong Kong Island, or even in the New Territories, you can be in the mountains in 20 or 30 minutes.
Wow.
And where I live, I see a mountain right outside the window. It's yeah, not very high mountains, but there's lots and lots of places to go hiking and great views. So hiking is amazing. That's something people do a lot. Yes, they eat out, and it's about getting together with the families at the weekends and having those dinners and get-togethers with friends. So yes, that's again, and the options are unlimited. That's
Yeah, and that
big.
show. What about the shopping? Do they love do they love to go for shopping, or just the tourists are the ones who go for shopping?
I think all people would love shopping, and it's individual. Um, so yes, shopping is good. In Hong Kong, you can find whatever it is that you're looking for. It's like if you're looking for something really reasonable, you can find it. If you're looking for something really big and like branded, you have that option as well. So, Canton Road in Chim Sa Choi it's like you just walk that street and you have all the big names. The whole street is full of those big shops, and people have lined up outside because they want to go and have a visit in that shop. They're waiting outside. It's no different in outside of restaurants. They just lined up outside Japanese restaurants to have a turn to go eat. That's Hong Kong for you, standing in lines, going in restaurants or going entering shops. So that's the
Wow.
shopping experience. And if you
Well,
want, if you're not into big brands, it's okay. You can just go do whatever shopping wherever is easier for you, convenient for you. That you have those options as well.
yeah, it's a good destination for shopping. Now people are moving, according to the news, they are going to Shanghai for this, but I don't know what's going on right now, but it seems like the companies are trying to move into Shanghai instead of Hong Kong for the political situation. It seems like it
Yeah.
has affected the economy. So I hope
Yes.
that it improves and
Yeah.
people are back to normal for their own good. And tell us a little bit about customs and
Mm.
traditions. Something that you say, oh, do you like it or not like it? But any tradition, something that you find interesting, custom traditions.
Um, it's one of the first things I learned when I came to Hong Kong is when you go on a, so you go to a restaurant, like a, I think it's a micro restaurant where you go for the yum cha, the drink tea, or lunches, or late afternoon tea. When you are served tea, so you'll be served tea in like little porcelain or bone china cups. And when someone serves you, you tap you. It's like, let's say this is the table. You just, when someone is serving you, and so everybody, so one person will take a turn, and then they'll pour tea for everybody. And then when someone serves you tea, you go like this on the table. It says saying thank you. So that was one of the
Oh, this
first
is a way to say thank you, and
on that, on
on
the
the
table.
table.
Yeah, not with your hand. So I'm just,
No,
this is
no,
the
no.
table.
Yeah, yeah, I know. This is the table, and
And
just
then,
with my fingers, just like
yeah, yeah.
oh, interesting.
So it's like, thank you for serving me. It's like that. And so there is two type of thank yous, you say. One is "mgoy sai" and one is "toche sai." Toche is when someone gives you something you can't, you have to accept. It's a gift, or so it's, let's say, oh, do you get Chinese, it's called the pocket money. It's lycee, and when it's Chinese New Year, you get that. Well, not you get that. It's children, and people who are not married, they receive that from their parents, uncles, aunts, and adults. So when you receive something like that, and people who are, let's say, guards in a building, they're the security. So those people, you give them lycee, which means like whatever amount of money. It's like saying thank you for your service, and then you give them that. So then they will say toche sai, toche sai. So it's like there's two different thank yous. So
Oh,
when you give me a gift, I will say toche sai, something like that. But if you're giving me a service, I say mgoy sai. It's like that.
so it's good to
Mgoy
know,
sai.
at least a
And
tourist, to
mgoy,
know these words, just to look,
yeah.
to be
And
polite.
yes, absolutely. And mgoy sai is mgoy sai, toche sai. There is that. And then just mgoy is kind of like maybe like excuse me, sir, excuse me, miss, because you want to call for someone's attention if you're at a restaurant or at a shop, something like that. Mgoy, that's how you can call. Say, I need some help. Mgoy.
Mm.
That's how you say it. Mgoy. Thank
So
you. And
do you speak the Cantonese in a basic level, middle, or in advanced?
um, I would say just basic, very basic.
Well,
I
anyways,
use
it's
the,
good. It's good
yeah,
that you're.
that's, they appreciate. They appreciate that. And the interesting thing is people, because we're so trained in like speaking English as grammar, our languages have grammar. In Cantonese, there is no such thing. The grammar doesn't exist. So and when I speak, I try to look for grammar. How do I say this? But then I'm oftentimes wrong.
Oh my gosh,
So there
I
is no
guess
grammar.
it's a very good, it's a very difficult language, one of the most difficult language in the world. We know that Chinese, Cantonese, and any other related to that.
Yeah.
So I understand. And
That's
it's
why
a safe,
you put in the effort.
yeah, it's a safe country for women. So any the women are safe, that they are not, have problems. I mean, try to stalk them or something like that. It's safe.
Yeah, it is safe. Generally, it is safe. If you're out late in the night, you're still very safe. I mean, these off one-off incidences can happen, but it's very, otherwise, it's one of the safest cities in the world.
Wow, that is surprising because it's a very big, all the stuff. It seems like if it's so amazing city with a lot of tourists, all the stuff, it's not so safe. But uh, it seems like the security, all the stuff are, people are respectful with the laws, all this stuff. So that is impressive.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you are there have been two occasions where I have forgotten my credit card at a grocery store, and I have gone back and I have found it. So they'll keep it for you. I show my ID card. I say, this is the name. This is where. So you are able to find that. And
It doesn't happen in Latin America. That kind of situation, no, 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 there is no way. Yeah, you will lose a lot of money here in Latin America. I don't know.
yeah.
I'm having problem with my life, but it's okay. Let's continue. Tell us about the accommodation. I know that Hong Kong is very famous for being very expensive, and we know that because it's a financial center in Asia. So,
Yes.
in general, if you can compare, just to have an idea, um, a space in a middle class area in India, let's in New Delhi, and in Hong Kong, how much do people pay in each place in Hong Kong and India, just to have an idea about the accommodation,
I the I
the rent.
apologize. I won't be able to. Yeah, no, I apologize because I did not live in Delhi. I do not know. And in India, in Mumbai, where I lived, my parents already owned the flat. But from what I
Mm.
hear now, it's where there is more land, okay, it's going to be more reasonable. Yes, maybe India is a little bit more reasonable, but it's not. The taxes in India are going to be killing you because
Well,
that's how
let's
it is.
say in Hong Kong, a place that in middle class and not in the most, fanciest areas or the poorest, in the middle class. How much a month for a place, 2 rooms,
Right.
just for a single person or for a couple? How much?
Um, that's like 15,000 Hong Kong dollars. And what is 15,000 Hong Kong dollars if I have to convert that? I have to calculate. I'm always thinking in Hong Kong dollars. Um, I would say 2,000 US dollars. Yeah, you're paying
It's not
2,000.
cheap. It's not cheap.
No, no, it's not. Yeah, easily that range and above. Expect above than below.
Yeah, it depends on, because New York is more expensive, I guess. But it depends on the area. Yeah, I know, but just having a general idea about the prices.
Yeah,
When we talk about the language now, how's the
more
weather?
expensive. It's more expensive on Hong Kong Island because the space is limited. So when I was living in a studio apartment, I paid more for a smaller apartment. So
Mm.
it's like that. So even within Hong Kong, it can be quite a big range. If you're
And
living further in the new territories, it's going to be slightly more affordable for you. But you have to commute a little bit. good thing is the commute is going to be okay because you can trust the transport
Yeah, the
system.
transportation. And how's the weather? It's cold, warm. Uh, how's the weather?
The So it gets cold, like around Christmas, New Year starts to get cold. Usually New Year's, you feel a chill at New Year's, and then sometime in January, maybe tiny bit of February, because the weather has changed quite a bit, and it can go down to, depends on where you are. If you're near the mountains, it can be around 3 or 4 degrees, but generally in the city, the lowest I have experienced is 6 degrees, and right now it's like it's summer, and when it gets to around 32, 33, it doesn't go higher than that. I haven't experienced. Yes, it can be very humid, and that's why it starts to rain. If it gets too hot, it rains, and then it cools down again. It gets humid, and then it, so
But it's
yes,
not so
humidity is a
cold
big
that it
problem.
is. It doesn't snow. So it's a good
It
weather.
doesn't snow.
Yeah, because you
Yeah,
have
yeah,
you have beach there, so I guess that helps.
yeah,
The
not
weather
the
is good.
cleanest, but yes, not the cleanest beaches, but yes, we have beaches.
Well, Liz, well, the buildings, all this stuff looks amazing on pictures. Pictures looks amazing. I have
Yeah,
never been there. I hope to go one day
yeah,
because it looks like a very vibrant city. So, but
yeah,
the picture looks
it
good.
is a vibrant
So
city.
tell us now, what are the do and don'ts of living in Hong Kong? It means, what are the things that people should do if they go to live there, and the things that they shouldn't do in Hong Kong?
Interesting question. What are the things they should do?
Do's
Mm,
and don'ts
say,
of living in Hong Kong.
um, definitely, if they can invest, they should. Um, and if they're looking to live in Hong Kong long term, maybe it helps them to buy a house. Maybe if they really love it. Many people come here for a month or 2 months, and then the next thing they know, they've been here for 20, 30 years.
Wow.
So, and if they like it so much, then they can buy a house if eh, if that serves them better, because when you pay mortgage, you're paying, it's like you're going to get that house, and that's one thing they can do. So yes, and investing is something that it's very, people, a lot of people are into doing that, and knowing, okay, what stocks and everything to invest in, because you're in the city where it's your rent can be a huge part of your income, can go away in the rent. So you want to make sure you have something that is going to keep your savings or whatever you, the important for you to be financially, you know, afloat, and you're having your head above water. So saving and investing, that's something that
And
people
the don'ts?
do. And the don'ts, uh so many things, but it's about,
Top three, maybe. Tell us top three.
it's this is a very tough question. It's like, um it's culturally,
In any
there's like,
aspect.
it's, yeah, there's so many aspects. There's I think, what are the don'ts? It's very hard. It's very hard for me to think about it. I have to really put in a thought to this. um I think it would be around understanding the culture and not crossing your line with them. So it's very individual. So since I have not been that exposed to them to get to know that enough, it's hard. So I try to stay where, okay, if I'm not welcome, fine, I just don't do that. It's it's going to be hard for me. So I might as well connect with the ones that I can connect with, and do definitely keep trying, but it's like it all also depends on how open the person or the company is, the culture is to you. So the don'ts are very can be very individual to where you're coming from, you know.
Okay.
I
What
think it's
tourist places
something like that.
should they visit? The people that are moving, the expat. What places should they
Mm,
visit first when they go to Hong Kong? Tell us a few names of
if
things, places to go
if
in
they
Hong
have
Kong.
children, if they
With
have
children or
children,
without? Do tell us.
with with children, you can try going to Disneyland and Ocean Park. Both are great. I personally love Ocean Park because I love the rides. If you are someone who loves roller coaster rides and looking at big huge aquariums, it's Ocean Park is a great place to go. Um, Disneyland also very nice with children. Um, and without children, it then depends on what activities you want to do. So definitely check out um, Peak. They say the Peak is it's not the highest mountain. It's not the highest place to visit in Hong Kong, although it's just the most popular one. But it's not the highest one. But people go there because from there you can have a great view of Kowloon, the peninsula, and everything. So you can definitely visit there. And for experiencing food, like any neighborhood you go, but the more popular ones at Chim Sa Choi for shopping, Jordan, which is right next to that. It's like these are the stops on MTR. So it's Jordan and Chim Sa Choi for shopping and food. Jordan for food, like both of them for food and shopping. They're great places. You'll find what you may be looking for. Um, so that's the big attractions: food and shopping, and
Okay,
these are
any
the two places you can
website
go.
or association that you recommend to those who listen to us? A website or Facebook group, wherever that is useful for the expat?
There are many expat groups, Facebook groups in Hong Kong, and I think all of them would be the same. Um, I think it's best to visit like the local, if you know the names and of places that you want to visit, find that information out from Google. Then you would get important information like schedules. So the transport uh, department, they would have and also Google Maps Google Maps, you can find out how long it takes you and all that stuff. So that's a helpful thing to use, because I personally find it very difficult to read maps. So if you're a single woman and traveling, and if you're not that great with maps, then yes, you can try and use Google Map. It's a great resource and giving you places where you can go. It recommends good things and what is near you. So it's a great resource.
And talking about immigration regulations, so you are a citizen, right? For your
I
marriage?
Well, so I moved here and then I've got my permanent. If you live here and if you have lived and worked in Hong Kong for 7 years, then you can apply and get a permanent residency.
Mm,
So, and then if you want and if you're interested, you can, and that's only if up to you, if you want, you can get also the Hong Kong passport. That, but then depends on your own country of origin whether they allow dual citizenship or not. So you
yeah,
also have that option. So 7 years
yeah,
in Hong Kong, and then you can get a permanent residency. And children who are born here, they automatically get that.
yeah, that is good because in other countries, it's not like that. What do you miss most about India?
Nothing.
Nothing? Oh my gosh. Well, and
What do I
how,
miss about? I miss what do I miss about Bahrain or the Middle East? I Arabic is music to my ears. The
Mm.
warmth and appreciation, the welcoming, the hospitality, that is something I really, really appreciate in people in general. And yes, that's something that because I grew up there, I love that.
Oh
That's
yeah,
something I,
true, true. You told me that you were born in India, but you grew up in the other.
Bahrain.
Uh-huh. Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, how did you manage to be competitive in Hong Kong? Because we know it's a complicated market. So what are the keys of your success? That you have your online business. So what are the keys of your success?
It's just about identifying your market and speaking to them. Like, for example, if it's public speaking, what it is that they are looking for, and just telling them how you are differentiating yourself from the people who are providing whatever service, similar services. So how is my service different? So just bringing in that flavor and keep on serving people in that particular area in many different ways for them to know and get an idea of who you are and what it is like to get to know you, work with you, experience you. So that's one of the things that I did when I started my public speaking journey. And now that it is harder for events to happen, and my work is around making those things and organizing those things, my market is gone online. And so now Hong Kong is not, I'm not limited to Hong Kong. I serve clients in Australia, in Singapore, and the Pacific Coast in America. So people from there also have joined me in my public
Yeah,
speaking
the business
workshops.
are
And
global now for internet. That is
it
amazing. And
is
for COVID-19.
exactly.
And last question. Um, well, maybe you haven't worked in a company in Hong Kong because you work on your own, but um, I don't know if you can respond this question. What are the differences that you find in the Hong Kong culture and the culture that where you grew up? The difference in between the both countries, the work
Mm,
culture, the way that the leaders are, the way that employees behave, all the stuff, the schedules, benefits, something like that. You have some information.
mm, I think work-wise, I didn't work in Bahrain, but I worked briefly in India. And I think people can be hardworking, but they're also laid back. And I guess that has to do with the weather because it can be rather hot and humid. So yes, work culture. Bahrain, well, during the daytime, it's very hot. And I remember my dad used to come back home, have lunch, have a nap, and then go back because it's too hot to be working at that time. And in Hong Kong, it's work, work, work the whole time, the whole time.
Mm.
And there is, so oftentimes it's, people are working overtime, but not all companies will pay you for working overtime. It's kind of like it's expected.
So it's
But
expected that
depend,
you work too much and you don't get paid for the extra hours. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
and people put in that people actually, because they're I have to say people are very hardworking in Hong Kong. They will put in the hours because they really really want success. And and success can be, that that promotion, that whatever it is that they are looking for.
So
Whatever that means to them.
according to what you're saying, I would think that for Hong Kong people, money is the most important thing. Money is so
Yeah.
the people value there for your amount of money in the bank.
Yes, yes, and the more well off you are, the more people will listen to you. Uh,
Mm,
it's that. So it's the having that association with that person as kind of more important. And like everything in the culture, they have this when they open a company or there's some inauguration or something like that. I have been to one, although I did not eat. Um, but there is they celebrate it with the roast pork. They roast the whole pig, and they eat that. So a pig signifies, wealth and uh, more money, and it's good for business. Mandarins during the Chinese, and oranges, that again signifies money and wealth. There is cats, like cat dolls, and with the hands swinging the whole time. It's like something th- that people will place in their shops, like a uh, welcome to the customers, come inside. So these, and then
oh,
there is a money frog. So they use their feng shui little things to to increase wealth in their house and all that stuff, and there is this
they're
money
obsessed
frog.
with money. Oh my God. And the last
Yeah.
question is, do you celebrate in Hong Kong the Chinese Year? That it's like the Christmas for us in a different, it's the same in China, in Hong
Yes,
Kong?
yes. The Chinese New Year, it comes around like either end of January or first half of February, falls between that time period. And it goes by the lunar calendar. They use a lunar calendar, and then it's a lunar New Year. Uh, we don't. I used to celebrate it when I was living with my in-laws because they used to celebrate it. So I'm not, and because I'm Indian, and in India we have a similar festival. The Hindus celebrate Diwali, so it's similar. Like, even when you're married, you will still receive some sort of pocket money as a gift for, okay, this is your gift for your Hindu New Year. And it's kind of similar in the Chinese New Year. Only if you're married, you're not gonna get that. So sometimes people will delay their marriage so that they can keep getting their LIC, and they're not obligated to give LIC to other people because they're not married. So it's interesting.
Interesting tradition. Okay, well, thank you very
Interesting.
much for
And that's
being
how
here.
I don't necessarily.
I don't what?
Yeah, it's been a while.
Neha, thank you
Uh,
very much for your time. Thank you for being here in Women Abroad. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Lizette. It's Lisette, right?
Yes,
It's been wonderful speaking with you. Loved sharing all the information. I hope it's helpful for your audience.
I'm sure that it is. Thank you. See you in the next
Most
episode. Thanks for listening. Visit our website www.welum.com section Women Who Inspire. And don't miss our next episode.